was talking Sundowns by Soccerbeat. Umjaka here, hanging out with the legend himself, Mamelodi Shakes Ngwenya. Lots to talk about in Shege. We couldn't get through it in the match reaction because we had to talk about match matters there, and not too much
Yeah.
about what's happening off the field. Shege, Orlando Pirates went on a wholesale of new players, exciting players, and it looks good for them at the moment. Kaizer Chiefs as well. All the other teams strengthened. They were signing players. Richards Bay, everybody in the PSL has been making moves. Sundowns have been quiet, but it looks like there's a lot going on in terms of players wanting to leave, players not knowing where they stand at the club. And there's also, of course, interest in some of the players. Um, Mudau is a big name, deserves an opportunity to obviously compete against the best because he's shown with Bafana, he showed at the Club World Cup. So there's apparently interest, there's apparently a contract issue. So there's a lot going on there. Peter Shalulile, we talked about it throughout the season, Chege. Ukuthi kwenzakalani ngoPeter. We've been asking a lot of questions. Why and Ribeiro, of course, is a big one. It's something new. There's not really an issue. There's the man is in demand.
Yeah.
For being hot property. Of course, there's the Lorch. The Lorch is of this world, King Umshege. Now we're getting to the drama. The Lorch is of this world. And of course, the Miamas. The list goes on. Shege, we need to get our subscribers in line here on how you see things, with all that's going on at the moment.
Yeah, Mchaga, a lot has been happening, behind the scenes. Bound to happen every time the season starts. There's been a lot of movements, after the Club World Cup, we saw the likes of your Temkosi Lorch really performing well, against the giants of world football, Man City and Juventus and other teams. So yeah, he showed that he's a quality player, somebody who had been written off by a lot of people, but he showed in the Club World Cup what he can still achieve, And obviously Ribeiro also performed exceptionally well in the Club World Cup, which raised a lot of interest in him, yeah, those two players obviously talking subject for Sundowns at this present moment. I believe Lorch was a player who the coach had said, that he's not in his plans. But I think after what he achieved in the Club World Cup, and now with the Ribeiro looking like he's on his way out, I believe that Lorch can be an option for Sundowns, because he's been welcomed back to training with the Sundowns guys. And yeah, I think he can be an option for Sundowns now, looking at the market and how things are going with Ribeiro, looking like he's on his way out. So yeah, I think it gives Lorch another opportunity to prove himself. I mean, I'm sure he's high on confidence, and we all know what he's capable of. You can't be a bad player overnight, Jaga. The guy was a quality player. You even had Mapiano DJs making a song about you. That means you're on fire. You're a quality player. So you can't be a bad player overnight. I think his confidence is back up, and given a chance at Sundowns, I believe he can show what he did with Wydad in that Club World Cup.
Cardoso said it himself. There's announcements to be made on these players. Shalulile, Ribeiro, Mudau, Lorch including. Like, it's apparently not his decision anymore. He sounds like a man that has already given his report or recommendation. It's now a management issue. Shege, let's start with Shalulile. Reported interest from Tunisia. Has a big reputation in Africa. We all know that. Respected, across the board in the CAF Champions League. So hasn't been playing. Yeah, bo. Um, it sounds like it's like a divorce that's just happening slowly. Shag, what must happen from here with this situation?
Yeah, Umjaka, like you said, Shalulile hasn't been playing, quality player for Sundowns, has proven himself throughout the seasons, being the top goal scorer. But we saw Motiba being brought on at Sundowns, being brought to Sundowns, which puts him again now in the pecking order behind. We saw Cardoso give Motiba a chance in the Champions League final. With Shalulile on the bench, which tells you that Shalulile is behind on the pecking order. So I believe at Shalulile's age, he should be playing more regularly, finishing his career and playing, not sitting on the bench. So I think for him, it makes sense to get a move, away from Sundowns, somewhere where you're going to get more game time, because time is not on his side, his age is not on his side. He's a workhorse. We know that he can still produce those goals, but him sitting on the bench is not going to help with Motiba being brought in at Sundowns as well. So I think, a move is imminent for Shalulile. And Esperance, what a quality side, to go to again. If that's the case, I believe he's somebody who will prove himself again there with the team of that quality.
And that PSL record, Mshege, um, you know, uh, it feels like it's almost intentional that they're stopping the guy from breaking the record or even reaching it or something. Because yeah, the guy's not even getting an opportunity to play. It's going. I mean,
Yeah, I
also
mean,
on top of that, it's going to be sad to see his back, to see him leave the country without breaking that record as well, knowing that he could have if he was just given 10 games or something.
yeah, definitely Mjaga, Shalulile has been scoring the goals, and you could see he was very close to breaking that record, which is disappointing that he didn't get the opportunity to. I mean, even last season, if he got that game time, he could have done it already last season, But football is not all about records, Mjaga, and unfortunately, he has to think for his future, as well. Looking at what Sundowns is doing, I think it only makes sense for him to look for space elsewhere. And Esperance is not a bad team to go to.
Ribeiro Qatar in Brazil apparently knocking and monitoring the Sundowns superstar. You think this is why he missed the game? He also he didn't. He was also in Brazil a little bit longer. Of course, they were given time off. Of course, but do you think this is why he wasn't even on the squad list or even on the bench for this weekend's game?
Yeah, Mchaga, it was no surprise for me not seeing Ribeiro on the bench yesterday. There's been those speculations about Qatar and also in Brazil with Fluminense, one of the biggest teams in Brazil. Looking at him, he did the business in the Club World Cup, scoring that goal of the tournament and also having stellar performances. So he raised his hand, and obviously there'll be interest. And not seeing him yesterday in the lineup and in the Sundowns lineup, it shows that that move is eminent for him. And I can only wish him the best, Ribeiro. That's why, I mean, we sign these quality players, Mjala, so that we can expose them to the world. And that's the football business, And I'll be happy for Ribeiro, seeing him playing in a bigger league, for a bigger team, and making more money and doing well.
And it's clear with Brazilian players as well. I mean, we've seen some of the top Brazilian players make surprising decisions following the money. From Oscar at Chelsea, Paulinho going to China. We've seen a lot. I mean, multiple guys. I mean, the guy to Russia. Some of them went to Russia when nobody was going, but they were paid enormous amounts of money. And this sounds like one of those with Ribeiro. It's not about the opportunity, because I think Sundowns were giving him the platform. In terms of football wise. This sounds like one of those. I need to make as much money as possible. It's like a Brazilian thing. When you make it, you make the money. You go back to Brazil, a rich man.
Yeah, Mjaga, he was in Belgium before he came to Sundowns, so maybe Sundowns was also just a yardstick for him, to prove himself so that he can be noticed because he knows Sundowns plays in the CAF Champions League. Sundowns are playing in these big competitions, the Club World Cup. So it's a yardstick for him to be seen by the world, and yeah, football football is about making money. It's a business as well, Mjaga, and the money is very important. So if you do well and you perform like Ribeiro, you deserve a big contract to play in a bigger team. I just hope he goes to a league, a serious league, where he can really make his name.
Mudau, Gemshege. And if you're still with us, thank you for subscribing and liking. Don't forget to like. Let us know that you are present. Like in class, you put up your hand, you say, I'm present. We need to get to Mudau, Mshege. Whew, hey, Mshege, this one is touchy for me because on the one side, I'm shocked to hear he's not amongst the top earners in the team. If that's true, I'm shocked. I'm also shocked that it got to this in terms of negotiating his contract or an extension or a renewal, because I think this is a man whose graph has been going up like this ever since he joined Sundowns. He's just been going up, 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 up. You know, um, and also to hear that there's even interest in him. So here's the option here. If you're not paying him, then why are you not selling him?
Jaga, I believe Mudau, Kulisi Mudau, I think is one of the players we didn't talk about enough. What a player, Jaga. When you look at his stats, throughout the season, even in the Club World Cup in a big competition like that, against the likes of your Borussia Dortmund, against the likes of your Fluminense, you name them, the big teams. That guy's stats speak wonders, that guy doesn't get beaten. Nobody goes past that guy, and so clinical when going forward as well, backs himself, his pace, such a quality player. I don't think, I rate him amongst the best right backs in the world, to be honest with you, Mjaga. So yeah, it's surprising, a player like that with that much quality. You'd want to try and make sure you keep him happy, So these speculations are very worrying, for our team. What's happening there, I mean, a player like that, you even when the contract is not up, Jaga, you can bring the player and say, hey, let's negotiate. You're doing well, and let's see what we can do with that contract. You don't even have to wait until the end of the contract. So yeah, just speculating, Jaga. It's something that needs to be fixed, because Mudau is one of the best in the world for me.
I'm sure you've seen some of these kind of things before, Mshege, in your time at Sundowns. Some players who don't know what their future holds. How is the mood? How are you as a teammate, or how are you as a player that's going through that with the squad, especially during preseason, Mshege? You're planning the season, and when I hear your agent is telling you this guy is not picking up the phone, I'm trying to have a meeting. What is happening with my contract? You're discussing all these things. Are you going to management office? Are you requesting a meeting with the president? A player. The players that we've mentioned here: Shalulile, Ribeiro, Mudau. What are they doing at the moment? Are they talking to the coach? Are they talking to management? How are they conversing with the players? Just paint a scenario of what is possibly happening.
Yeah, I think those three players is three different situations, Chaga, the most worrying one is the Mudau one, when you're in that position, I think it destabilizes you as a player, you feel like you're a bit unappreciated maybe by the team. And yeah, it could be destabilizing mentally. I mean, it shows that mentally he's not at the right place, And yeah, by the reports that we're getting, that he hasn't attended training. It's worrying a bit. But Sundowns have come out and said they will give an update, on what's happening. So I think the best thing is to wait and hear what Sundowns' side is concerning those players. But yeah, just worried more about Mudau. Ribeiro expected. He'll be wanted, and Shalulile, obviously, it's the business of football. The coach has come in, his Motiba has been signed, and Shalulile is going in the back order. So he needs to make a decision, and I think it only makes sense for him to look outside of Sundowns.
Shege. For now, we've shared our part based on the comments from the people and what we know. We hope to get another update, Shege, and get more clarity on what's going on with the guys. But Iskatsako, we definitely appreciate, for sharing with the Sundowns family here on Soccerbeat, on your thoughts on what's going on. There's a lot to be excited about on the pitch, of course. It's just worrying when you know that you're going into such a battle against a strong team like an Orlando Pirates who's coming after you, but you're going on battle with guys you're unsure of their future. So you need trusted soldiers for the kind of season that we've got. This is a winning streak of Betway Premiership, of PSL titles. That Pirates are desperate to come and get from us, and they need to know, Shag, it's not going to be easy. So we need the soldiers to sort of come together. Cardoso must be a general here.
No, definitely, Mjaga. It's going to be a humdinger of a season. Max Maponyane used to say that, humdinger. It's going to be a humdinger of a season. It's going to be a cracker of the season. And the Masandawana camp needs to come together. We need every player, we need everybody focused. It's going to be a long season. And definitely the likes of your Mudau, we need them in the team. We need them focused and ready and happy. A happy player performs to the best of their ability, Jaga. And I just hope it can be sorted out very soon, whatever's happening with Mudau, and he can be back on camp and playing and doing what he does best. This also for the national team, not just for Sundowns.
8 in a row. That's all I'm going to say, Shege. 8 in a row. It's the number to beat. 8 in a row. We'll see in the MTN 8. We'll start with the MTN 8. That's the preview of what's to come.
Yeah, I feel immediately. Why waste any time? Let's see what happens in that MTN 8.
Let the beat do the talking.